Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. That's what I get for looking. Here we go, folks, yet another sordid tale of woe. Speaking of yet another, here is yet another apology for the length of this post. I, 40ism, found out that my GF, 40s, of nearly 10 years has been cheating on me. To some degree. With the UPS guy. GF and I have been together for over 9 years and living together for over 6. She has a son who I love as if he were my very own son. For the first year and a half, our intimacy was gangbusters, if you'll pardon the expression. That was until 1/4 into our first year when I ran into some financial and emotional difficulties. We powered through it and were the stronger for it. I really thought I had found someone that would stick by me through thick and thin. Someone I could really open up to and be myself, which is something I had trouble finding up until that point. Yet, it was then, now midway into our second year, that our intimacy began the inevitable decline from the honeymoon phase. By year 3, sex had gone from several times per week to several times per month. As she was an amazing GF in every other possible way, I didn't let it get to me that much. Even when we were like rabbits, she was never what I would call a sexual person. For one, she refused to do oral on me in any way, even though I was happy to do so to her. When we had sex, I would usually initiate something that, in hindsight, bothered me, but not enough to bring it up. As I said, she was so amazing to me in every other way, supportive, loving, kind, caring, great fun to be around, that I felt it evened things out. We got along famously. I wouldn't have asked her to move in had we not. Our arguments, when we had them, mostly concerned money, or, in our case, a constant lack of money, and the fact that she was always late, and in turn, making me late. You know, normal couples stuff, right? By year 5, our intimacy fell off a cliff. From once a month to several times per year, up until February of 2017. That's when the sex stopped. We haven't had sex since early February of 2017. Nearly 5 years. I have tried everything, and I mean everything, to try and figure out why the sex suddenly stopped. I'd bring it up. I'd get upset about it. I'd yell at her about it. I'd get exhausted about it. I'd ask her if it was me. I'd ask her if it was another man. I'd get suicidal about it. No matter what attempt I made to express myself and discuss these issues, I was met with the same response: there was nothing wrong, there was no one else, she just has no interest in intimacy any longer, she could not explain why, and she has no interest in correcting it. We continued as we were. More like roommates than anything else. I still loved her son as if he was my own. I was, and am, a financial idiot, so I was unable to move out on my own. I admit, part of that was laziness, but I let things continue. I shifted my focus to my health, which I had let slide. Now that I was over 45, I had to correct that, so I worked on that. Over the past 3 years I've lost nearly 120 pounds, gave up meat, and am healthier, and fitter, than I've been in 30 years. I shifted my focus to correcting my finances, and worked on my career, and focused on work and me. We still got along, but the non-sexual great things about her also started to change. For the past 2 years, she's been sleeping on the couch full time. Claims it's because I snore. I do snore, though less now that I'm thinner, but it's just one other thing I've given up fighting. I enjoy having my bed back to myself, and my 5 cats don't mind having the extra space either. Within the past year, she suddenly had an issue with the fact that we were on Find My on our iPhones as we were in an iCloud family. We always took advantage, in good ways, of the fact that we can keep track of when someone was out, on the way home, whatever. At one point within the past year she turned off her tracking, and, when confronted with it, reacted angrily. I don't need to know her every movement, and she found it creepy. Creepy? After 7 years suddenly this is an issue? I never once stalked, asked why she was at a certain place. All we used it for was when one of us did the food shopping, we'd know when to help the other when they were pulling into the driveway. Things like that. Now, out of nowhere, this became an issue. I began to suspect. I'd ask her, she'd deny it. Even so far as saying I was silly for even thinking I'd complicate things like that with someone else. I'd let it go yet again. I really did try everything humanly possible to get through to her, so I at least had some comfort in that, fleeting though it might have been. My focus was on my health and my finances. I wanted to afford this home on my own. It was my apartment before her, and I wished for it to be my own apartment again without her. I focused on that. All the other, non-sexual things that I adored about her also died out in 2021. She no longer told me she loved me, no longer was the caring, kind person I used to know. We were roommates, and distant ones at that. If I tried to hug her or tell her I loved her, she would almost recoil. If I told her I loved her, she would mumble a reply. If I so much as touch her shoulder, she would recoil like I just put a hot coal on her back. Even so far as to sometimes say get off of me and don't touch me. It would always take me a second to recover from such a strong aversion to a mere hand on a shoulder of an attempt to hug. My first hint of Mr. UPS, let's leave his name out, came over this past summer. As I am a techie and an avid reader of tech blogs and forums, I keep up with the latest in iOS. An innocent demonstration of the focus notification feature in iOS 15 on her phone to her, with her permission. With focus settings, you can set notifications to cease at certain times of the day or at certain locations and allow only certain apps, or messages from certain people, to keep you from being distracted while at work, etc. This was a feature she claimed to know nothing about, yet when I showed her how it worked on her phone, at her request, Mr. UPS was already in a focus group, one I was not in, BTW. When I asked who he was, and why he was in a focus group that seemed already set up for while she was at work, she responded by claiming not to know why her phone decided to do that. Mr. UPS was the delivery dude who has been delivering to the town she works in and has worked in for years, she explained. She's almost as techie as I am, and always installs the latest phone updates when they come out. The odds of her phone simply choosing to add him to a focus group without her knowing it was slim to none. Come on. This past fall I began a new job close to home that I could walk to for significantly more money. Great company, great people, endless possibilities, and room for advancement. At about the same time, she decided that she preferred to run all the household errands without me instead of together, as we had always done. Friday night runs to the local supermarket together became hours-long excursions that would run from early Saturday morning to early in the afternoon at times. There were sudden trips to help her family member I wasn't needed to be on, and rushing out for work at 6:15 when she used to leave closer to 7:30 to her job, not 6 miles away. All the cliches were there, quickly looking away or putting down from her phone if I walked by. Complete distance from me. We slept in separate rooms, we lived in separate rooms. Any and all questions about whether she was seeing someone else were met with emphatic denials. This ridiculously long preamble brings me to last night. She came home, as she always does, from work with a few groceries in tow. Roughly 60 minutes later she ran out to go pick up her son from his GF's house. She always prided herself in being his personal Uber. Walking by the couch to go to the bathroom I noticed that she forgot her Apple Watch on the charger. By good fortune, to me anyway, I had at one point happened to see her passcode to unlock her iPhone. She didn't notice that I saw what the 4 digits were, and I stored that little tidbit into my brain for safekeeping. It came in handy last night. Without any attempt to resist temptation, I grabbed that watch and unlocked it like my life depended on it, and opened the Messenger app. There he was. Mr. UPS. Endless, and I mean endless messages about where they can quickly meet, how great it was to see him, calling him honey, sending heart emojis, intimate emojis, how he was the best thing to happen to her in 2021, and how she was looking forward to 2022 with him. How she needed to schedule a UPS pickup and couldn't wait to see his handsome face. On and on, you get the picture. I put the watch back on my charger, locked it, and confided in one of my oldest friends. The same friend who, when I confided in the total and complete end of our intimate life, replied with the following. Dude, you don't just stop. Humans don't work that way. You don't stop completely unless there is another source. Turns out he was right. So, here we are folks. Present time. I am sitting in my bedroom office, MacBook open, headphones plugged in, Bernard Herrmann playing, blogging, and journaling away, gathering my thoughts to share with you, good people. As it stands now, I do not intend to confront her with this knowledge. To do so would reveal how I came to learn this definitively in the first place. I only wish I had the common sense to have taken screenshots, difficult though that might be with an Apple Watch. My emotions are mainly of relief. Relief in the knowledge that I know for sure. I am always the type of person who prefers to know definitely rather than having to guess. It's the guessing that drives me up a wall. Now that I know, for sure, that she has been cheating, has been lying, has been unfaithful, I can move on, and move on I shall. The plan that has been formulated in my head since last night is to finally break up this dead relationship and ask her to leave this week. As her son is an adult, and we get along, I will leave the decision to move or stay up to him. I will not tell her I know about Mr. UPS, for reasons I've already explained. I thank you for reading, for sticking with this, and for any and all comments you might have. I will answer them, and edit this, as best as I can if there is anything to add over the next few days. Thank you. So the relationship is over and has been. You're not breaking up with her, you're just naming something that already happened. Prepare for tears and expressions of regret. It may be helpful to know in advance that she is going to have some sort of emotional reaction. That's not a reason to reverse course. It's entirely possible that she still cares about you even though she's not in love with you. She just doesn't want to feel guilty. She's waiting for you to be the so-called bad guy. Use it to your advantage to plan properly for your exit. Well said, and exactly why I did not just run to her and accuse and cause an emotional scene. I have a plan to exit. This just speeds things up to their conclusion and gives me closure, perhaps a bit ahead of schedule if that makes sense. For your healing, I suggest watching some YouTube videos by Dr. Ramani. Your ex-girlfriend sounds like the ultimate gaslighter. She's so narcissistic, she thinks she is so smart, and will get away with anything she wants. Good on you for finally trusting yourself. It took me 5 years in an abusive relationship to finally get out. Dr. Ramani made the world make sense again for me. I hope you are able to feel better soon. I just don't understand why people do this. If you are not happy in a relationship, don't cheat, just bloody pack your bags and leave. It's so disrespectful to treat someone you once claimed to love in such a way, not to mention they are wasting your precious time that could be spent with someone else who would actually treat you with love and respect. Anyway, it sounds like you will be better off without her. Yeah, leaving is the right thing to do, but I've seen a lot of relationships end and the petty, vindictive party never comes out of it looking anything other than unhinged. Am I the only one who senses missing reasons? This whole story is just bizarre. So you haven't been intimate in 5 years, sleep separately, aren't affectionate whatsoever. Why are you still together? It doesn't sound like she's dependent on you, she works. It doesn't make any sense that she didn't leave you and you didn't leave her. As for your claims for trying every way to figure out why your sexual relationship ended, you described yelling at her and all sorts of other things that sound a bit suspect to me. Did you try rekindling the romance? Did you try affection and love, or did you simply demand sex? You also described being not financially wise enough to be able to leave, which to me suggests you were staying with her because it made things easier for you. Cheating is abhorrent and there's no excuse for it, but this whole scenario is just ducking bizarre. I don't understand why no one else is questioning it. I'd love to hear the other side of this situation. Thanks for your reply. Trust me when I tell you I tried everything, and I mean everything, from being romantic to not being romantic and everything in between. Also, as I originally wrote, part of the reason I did not move out was laziness. It was easier to stay than to move out and rip off the band-aid, as it were. Trust me, I regret that decision. I will no longer make that mistake. That's What I Get for Looking, Part 2. AKA the UPS Man Saga, 40SM, 40s. Welcome back to the continuing adventures of the UPS Man Saga. What Brown did for her. Perhaps you all have catchier titles. To read Part 1, please click here to read how this sordid tale of woe began. First of all, thank you so much for your comments, support, suggestions, and encouragement. It means the world to me to know that my little saga resonated with even a few people. All the comments, good, bad, and indifferent, were greatly appreciated. Now that I understand what update me means, here is an update. First, here are some updates I posted on the original Part 1 as edits. Edit 1, an hour ago she told me she was going to the library and to get a few more things for dinner. It never takes her this long. She is literally with him right now. Some pair on that woman. Edit 2, I've been ignoring her all day and I can tell she suspects something is up with my behavior but is afraid to confront me about it out of fear of learning the truth, or the truth coming out. As she usually cooks on weekends, I actually got up from typing away, went to the kitchen, ate a bowl of salad as she made a big salad, fed a few of the cats, since she did not, washed my dishes, put a few dishes away, said hardly a word to her, except for a nod when she asked how the salad was, and here I am, back typing with you. Didn't ask if she wanted to eat with me, nothing. She knows I suspect something, has to be. Edit 3, well she just walked into the bedroom and she saw I was typing. As soon as she walked in I stopped, put my phone down on the bedside charger, waited for her to leave, and then left to go brush my teeth. Hee hee. Now, this morning, I slept better, and longer than I have in years and years. I usually have trouble sleeping, and am frequently up at night, reading, thinking, ruminating, you name it. It was nice to see 7:15 a.m. this morning on my clock instead of the usual 4 a.m. or earlier when I woke up this morning. I think the two cats that slept next to me appreciated it too. When I left the bedroom, she was already awake and staring at her phone like usual. When she saw me, she said what I found to be slightly more chipper than usual good morning. My reply was a low muttered morning. That was it. She told me how she fed one of the usual cats that show up at our door for food. I do TNR and feed colonies in my spare time around town, and I ignored her. I cleaned litter boxes, had some breakfast, made coffee, and now I'm back in my bedroom recliner, headphones on, typing away. Just a moment ago she came into the bedroom and for once I was the one who quickly clicked off a website I was on. Ha. No, she does not Reddit, so the odds of her being here and seeing this are quite slim. Even if she did, I have nothing to hide, so let her read it. Grabbing her coat just now, she muttered a quiet "I'm going to get my nails done" and just left. I said nothing. I didn't even look up from my MacBook. Going to get her nails done. Is that what they're calling it these days? She's definitely affected by my behavioral 180. Just to be clear, I was my normal usual self with her until roughly 9 p.m. this past Friday, and have barely said a word to her since, nor do I have a desire to. A complete 180. She personifies stubbornness, so she won't admit to it, but it's pretty clear my coldness is affecting her and she has to be wondering what's going on, or if I know. That being said, I'm trying not to spend too much time in her head, or wondering what she is thinking, or doing. At this point I do not care and feel nothing for her, so what she thinks is her own problem, not mine. Frankly, I can't stand the sight of her. Literally, I cannot look at her. This was a woman who, after a lifetime of failed relationships, who I thought was really, finally, someone I could truly open up to let me guard down and be myself. Someone to be vulnerable around, someone who could know the real me, flaws, worries, and all. Instead, my all-time favorite John Lennon quote comes to mind. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Speaking of plans, I had a slight change of heart, and change of mind, especially after speaking to boss number 2. Many of you have asked, even close friends of mine, the following. Why are you still there? Why didn't you end it? Why has she not left? Why is she still there? As to her reasons, I can only speculate that I do not think she can afford this apartment on her own. One of our biggest issues was money. I was a financial idiot, she was not. I am, however, not afraid to ask for a raise. She is. She pays her bills but has no savings. She is also one of those people who refuses to ask her son, now pushing 26, to pay towards rent or any of the bills. That right there was one of our biggest arguments in all our time together. If I was Jeff Bezos, this wouldn't be an issue. Neither of us is, so I felt he should be contributing, especially since he is making more than we are. Nope, that stubbornness reared its ugly head once again, and I always lost this argument. As I said in part 1, I have spent the past 3 years working on my health, which I have regained, and the better part of the past 2 years learning how not to be a financial idiot with the aid of a friend of mine who is a financial advisor. I gained control of my spending, paid off debts, repaid my back taxes from an old 1099 job, and sold a ton of stuff on FB Marketplace and Poshmark and CL, electronics, old clothes, all the crap I had sitting around in storage that served no purpose but could go to another home and be used. Just this morning I sold the older MacBook I had that she was using from time to time. All told, I have made it my business to live within my means and build up savings so I can be on my own and never have to rely on anyone except myself again. With that being said, the plan I spoke of in part 1 has been altered, after giving it more thought and speaking to 2 of my closest friends. I will be the one moving out. Not her. Allow me to explain. I am starting a second job tomorrow for someone I used to work for over a decade ago. It will more than double what I bring home each week for 20 hours of work per week, helping him out a few evenings a week at his home office. When this position came up, he had me in mind as we kept in touch here and there. I actually spoke with him last night and mentioned the difficulties I am having, how the next few weeks will be quite an upheaval for me, and how I didn't want him to think it will be interfering with my work. His response? He also knows of an apartment, one I looked at and should have taken 12 years ago, that is in a house museum in the same town. He will speak to them on my behalf and I will try and go see the apartment tomorrow. I used to work for this house museum in another life, so I know the people there. I will also be speaking with my landlord and his wife tomorrow since we all work from home and GF does not. I was here first and they've always treated me like family. I want them to be aware of everything that is going on and my intentions to leave. As I have last month's rent and security, I won't have to pay rent for the next 2 months and can use that towards the new place. I will work that part out. Assuming it all goes to plan and I sign the lease this week, I will be telling GF that I will be moving out. Leaving her with the rent bill here. If it does not work out, I will still look for an apartment nearby. I know a few people who do real estate where I live, so I'm sure I can find something. I think that is the best plan of action. It will also give me a chance for a truly fresh start in a new place, free of this dead weight and all the memories it involves. It will also be easier on her son. He can keep his room and maybe possibly I won't be the bad guy. I do love the kid and would like to remain a father figure in his life if he wants that. That's up to him. All I know is I am determined to get out. To be free of her. To be free of this. Whatever it takes. she's a liar. She's a cheater. She's a total stranger to me now. And I prefer it that way. Trust me, when I tell you, I tried everything humanly possible to try and fix this relationship. I tried to talk, tried to be romantic, tried everything. Everything. It was met with coldness and indifference. I'm done trying. No more games, no more effort. It's time to go. Thank you all for reading. TLDR, I've been a cold fish to GF and am planning my exit. I like that you're thinking about her son. Part 3. Part 3. That's what I get for looking, aka the UPS Man Saga, 40SM, 40s back with a mini but important update. For part 1, click here. For part 2, please click here. I have a 9 AM viewing of an apartment tomorrow morning. If I like it, I will sign the lease. Wish me luck. I've barely spoken to her all day, and she's doing her best to not get in my way. When she does speak, I sense some hesitation in her voice and uncertainty. Almost as if she is not sure why I've suddenly, in the span of fewer than 48 hours, closed myself off completely from her. We always had dinner together, such that I was able to eat. This weekend, I ate alone. She's scared of facing me and the truth perhaps? Here's the tidbit as it were. I have a friend that works in the same town GF does. Earlier, I was telling her what was going on, under the guise of asking my friend to be on the lookout for apartments just in case this one I am viewing falls through. Upon learning about Mr. UPS, and his first name, here were her replies. I know the UPS guy, he delivers to the store every day. I think he's like 30. Not even good looking. Trust me, he's not attractive. Looks dirty, not clean. That MF. My soon-to-be ex-GF is 44. That made me chuckle. Today is the day, wish me luck. It's over. I confronted her about everything, the texts, how she treated me. Her response? Oh, he's just a friend and that's how I talk to my friends, and oh, I was going to tell you in a week or so I was going to move out anyway. Denial and lies to the end. Congratulations on getting through with it. How are you feeling? Was the son there? What was his reaction? Do you have a place to move out to? Working on the new place. Trying to see it I can stay where I am. How do I feel? Old, useless, sad, suicidal. You've been through a lot. Please be kind to yourself. The last how many years you've done your best to make it work and put up with so much. Take time to grieve over the end of a relationship, but TBH, it's been over for a while. Take care of yourself, self-care, and indulge in massages, and some physical activity, hikes or tennis, golf, whatever you enjoy. Life is about to get so much better. Lots of good energy your way. 5+ years in a DB. Don't make my mistake. In my ever-expanding interest in subreddits, I am a newish member of this subreddit and wish to impart my advice to you, fine people. In short, I was in a DB for over 5 years. It almost cost me my life. Don't make the same mistake I made. For background on why I am here today, on the other side, here's a fake letter I wrote to my former roommate that explains it all. We started out really great. Really great. I always had a higher sex drive than her, that never changed, even as hers died out. The first year we were gangbusters. Even though she was not what you would call sexual, she was interested, I was, and it was wonderful. There was a lot she was unwilling to do, but what we did do was so great at first, it did not matter to me. By year 2, it had started dropping dramatically. Not just the usual end of the honeymoon phase, but it was as if something was seriously wrong with her. By year 3, I was lucky if it was once every other month. By year 4, it was once a year, and this was the year she moved into my apartment with her son as well. By year 5, it stopped completely. Literally the last 5 years of our relationship, we lived in a DB. Not just that, she even started sleeping on the couch. Yet, I stayed. In every other aspect, we were great. Yet for some reason, she lost all interest in all things physical with me. Out of loyalty? Laziness? Stupidity? All of the above. I tried everything you could imagine to get through to her. Talking, not talking. Yelling, not yelling. Being romantic, not being romantic. Suggesting couples therapy. A doctor. A shaman. Of Vulcan high priestess. Nothing. I don't know why, I just have no interest in sex. Like none, she would say. Nor did she have an interest in solving the problem, or even breaking up. She wanted to stay but didn't want to be with me. Even so far as hinting that she couldn't afford to leave, so she stayed. After all, she still cared about me. By year 6, she was sleeping on the couch, and me in the bed. Once a month I would try to fix this, still holding on to some stupid hope that I could turn it around. She stopped changing in front of me, choosing to change in the bathroom. She even stopped grooming herself. I would catch glimpses of a complete lack of any grooming from the waist down. I was puzzled. I still, against all odds, despite my friends, my family, my cats, even my heart telling me it was over and to go, tried to get through. I even suggested the possibility of it being medical. That was met with the roll of her eyes. Nothing worked. I had gotten so depressed at feeling undesired, old, and unattractive the urge to end my life grew stronger and stronger. By year 8, even the lovey-dovey romantic stuff ceased. She started exhibiting all the signs of being interested elsewhere. See link above. All the red flags were there. Yet still, I stayed. I was the only father her son had ever known, and I didn't want him to lose that. But at what price? I had lost nearly 120 pounds and had stressed myself into a bad asthma condition. I had to get out. I couldn't live like this, noting more than roommates. 3 weeks ago, I found texts. She was having at least an emotional affair, if not more. I finally had enough. After 5+ years of a DB, that was her release. My feelings died with the snap of a finger, like a light switch going off. I ended it and kicked her out. Like a tumor being removed from my heart and brain, I was free. Released. Liberated. I am now a bachelor again, for the first time in years, and happier than I've been in a long time. Even kinda sorta speaking to someone new, who just went through something similar and is in no interest in rushing, like me. My advice? Don't do what I did. Don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore what is right in front of you. Take care of yourselves. If your partner is unwilling to even see the issue, much less work on bettering it or even getting out of the relationship, run. I don't wish what I went through, the mistakes I made, on my worst enemy. Hope this makes sense. Man, this is heavy. It's like the worst case scenario that probably runs through the heads of all of us that are suffering in a DB. Yes. Which is why I wanted to share my experience. I made it, I survived, and I want to share what I went through as a warning to everyone else. We all deserve better. What was her reaction when you told her that you found out about her affair? Her initial reaction was the same cold indifference that I had gotten for the past several years. Oh, he's a friend, that's how I talk to my friends, I laughed. Told her I no longer trust or believe her, and that even if it was just texts, that alone is cheating and enough for me to be done. All I got was an unemotional "I'm sorry." I kicked her out. For the next 10 days, she left early and came home after I fell asleep, too ashamed and too scared to speak to me. My only contact with her was 2 more times when I asked her when she was leaving. Last Thursday, she left, without warning or notice, and left 3/4 of her belongings behind. Most of which I have already donated to Goodwill or thrown out in the trash. Her entire exit strategy from the night I dumped her until she ran out, sniffling and too ashamed to look at me, screamed guilty. I have completely blocked and ghosted her. I have also started therapy. So now you are free. And you learned the lesson of never accepting being in that position again. If the next one tries to put you in this misery, you already know that you have to cut her from your life just like you did if your ex. And, by the way, you were with her for many years. Was she your wife, or just a girlfriend? We never married, thank the Lord. So you are definitely free. Yes. Loving every minute of it. Thank the Lord I never married her. I'm sorry you have gone through this. How's the kid holding up? Thank you. Last Thursday, without notice or warning, she grabbed half her stuff and ran. He was forced to move out by his domineering GF. Haven't heard from him since. I miss the kid, but I know he's between a rock and a hard place. And left 3/4 of her stuff behind, mind you. I've since ghosted her, and donated her stuff to Goodwill. Dear Abusive Cheater Rant. Dear Abusive Cheater. So, how does it feel? How does it feel knowing you were caught? How does it feel knowing you were kicked out? Well, you deserve it. Let's review what really happened, instead of what you keep telling yourself and your friends and family for support, shall we? You didn't touch me for 5 years. I tried everything to get through to you. I tried talking, I tried yelling. I tried being compassionate, loving, cold, strong, weak. Everything. I tried to get you to go to therapy with me. You weren't interested. I told you that you're not touching me and treating me like nothing but a roommate made me feel so bad about myself that I was contemplating suicide. You still weren't interested. I did my best to cope, even though this was affecting my health and emotional well-being. You still weren't interested. I stayed out of faith that you cared about me when everyone and everything told me to run. You still weren't interested. What were you interested in? Besides keeping me around for my cleaning skills and salary? Him. A UPS man. Oh, he just gave me his number in case I need to schedule a special pickup. Seriously? Did you think I'd buy that? You were interested in having an emotional affair with him. You were interested in sending him the loving texts you hadn't sent me in years. You were interested in hiding your whereabouts from me. You were interested in exhibiting all the signs of cheating. Yes, I read the texts on your watch. I saw your passcode once and kept that secret because I was starting not to trust you. Yes, I was bad about money, I even lied about money, and was terrible with spending. Did that give you the right to send those texts? There is no excuse for cheating, so, no. You were the one that forgot your watch at home. Was that intentional? I doubt it. So I read the texts. Honey, this, sweetie that. You couldn't wait to see his handsome face. He was the best part of your 2021. Not me? Not your son? You've got to be ducking kidding me. After 5 years of ignoring me, that is your exit strategy? Remember how you tried to explain the texts away? Oh, he's a friend, that's how I talk to my friends. Are you for real? I have many female friends, and I can promise you that is not how friends talk to friends. That is how you deal with the fact that you were an emotional abuser. I was done. Like a light switch, any feelings I had left for you instantly shut off. I was done, finally done. I can deal with a lot, you are proof of that, but I cannot deal with a cheater, not even an emotional cheater. So I ignored you all weekend. Headphones on, to me, you were a stranger and a virus I had to get rid of. A toxin to be purged. So how does it feel? How does it feel to be called out? Perhaps you should have changed your passcode? Perhaps you should have actually been looking for an apartment instead of lying to me when I confronted you. You were caught, you were exposed. And I wanted you out. Not your son, you. I couldn't even stand to look at you. You had years to either leave or work on our issues. Instead you decided to have your cake and eat it too. To have your fun while I suffered in silence. So then you suffered. You had to leave early and come home after I fell asleep to avoid me out of shame. Out of an inability to face your actions. You wouldn't even let me know when you were moving. All I got was 2 weeks. I had to ask you twice, remember? When the duck are you leaving? Now I was the one that was cold. Unfeeling. All I wanted was you gone. Out of my life forever. I know it's not Christian to wish ill on your enemies, the Bible says to love your enemy. But I loved seeing you suffer. Seeing you scared. Knowing you had nowhere to go. Knowing you had to deal with the huge car payment. One instance where having bad credit came in handy. I loved seeing you having to hide behind your son's horrible girlfriend, too scared to even speak for yourself anymore. Where's the cold indifference now? Where's the, May, I don't know, I just don't want to, now? Seeing you grab what you could, running out as fast as you can with that little monster for cover, screaming at me while you stayed in silence was something I so richly deserved. Am I right? Are you staying with your son's GF's family like your son Albert admitted? 2 weeks ago you had a home. Now you have a bedroom. And 2 of our 5 beloved cats. You better be good to them. I've already put my rescue friends on notice, and none of them liked you. So how does it feel? Living so greatly reduced. Hiding with her family. Running away in shame, leaving half of your belongings behind for me to donate or throw out. How does it feel, when you lay your hand on a strange pillow at night, with nothing but your guilt for company? I made a lot of mistakes, but I own them, and now I am in therapy to learn why I did them and better myself. I found God again. I found my parents again. I found my life again. I am learning that I am loved. I am healing. So, tell me. How does it feel? Don't bother, I've blocked you. Me. P.S. The hits just keep on coming. Guess what I found while throwing out your crap this morning? You took out a credit card without telling me in 2020? All while crying poverty to me? When I had to raise the $1,500 for my cat's operation. Really? What else did you lie about? TLDR, a 48M recovering from emotional abuse writes a letter to his emotionally abusive cheating ex, 44F. Wow. Please write the same to your wayward wife, ex, via letter/email. Go, she's out of my life forever. How old is your son? If your STBXW is living with his GF, you'll be getting second-hand info about her and UPS guy. That information, as skewed as it will be, will only cause more pain. Cut them out completely. I have cut them all out of my life and now have the place to myself. My gut tells me it was only an emotional affair. And I trust my gut. Emotional affairs are 100% cheating in my book. It doesn't matter at this point. She left you emotionally and physically years ago. Time to reciprocate. If possible, sell the house, move far away, leave no forwarding address. Find your peace again. She is completely blocked. Staying where I am because I feed a colony of stray cats that depend on me. Do you not miss the kids? One kid, and I was the de facto father as he had none. I'm letting him contact me. Sadly, any feelings in a letter to a cheating ex would only add fuel to the fire. I tried it, their lack of acknowledgement, the tiniest respect for our love once shared, hurt worse than them cheating. It's a wound like no other. Would not wish on my worst enemy. I think you are much wiser and far along towards healing than you give yourself credit for. As long as you show yourself some love, you will get through this. Thank you. I am just so happy she's out of my life. Frankly, she made this easy for me. Not touching me for 5 years, sleeping on the couch for the past 3, and her actions leading up to kicking her out last week make it easy for me to move on. I'll say it again, Being rid of all that toxicity is simply a blessing. Feels great. Feels almost liberating, doesn't it? Liberating to say the least. Yes, I've been there and done that. Or should I say experienced it? Yes. Been through hell for years. I feel like I woke up from a decade-long coma, and now I get to start my life over. It is like you got a huge burden off of your shoulders and now are so much lighter. That is when you know that you were being abused emotionally and you see your partner's true self. Absolutely. I'm in therapy now and excited for the future. Hard to believe a month ago I was planning on ending my life because of her. I am so glad you decided against that. You are important and you are not dependent on another person. Your purpose is not to validate or please another person but yourself. Just think of all the people you would have deprived of interacting with you throughout the rest of your life. Thank you. "6 weeks later, best thing to ever happen to me. Progress 6 weeks ago, tonight. I got my life back. I called her out on her cheating. I let her know that I knew. That I saw the texts. That what I suspected was true. I dumped her on the spot. I kicked her out. Seems like so much longer, in the best possible way. Now, 6 weeks later, I have my life back. I have fallen in love with my home again. I get to do what I want. When I want. My living room is just that, a living room, and not just the couch she slept on every night for the last 3 years of our 9 years together. I am me again. I am back. No more sitting in the next room fighting the urge to end me life. I am in therapy, and enjoying each day. Should have done this long ago. If you're going through what I went through, listen to me. It gets better. It gets easier. It wasn't your fault. You will make it through this. Life is great. I dumped her on the spot. My man, D. Ducky less than 3 tilde. Good luck with your life, bro. Have fun, don't be a dick to random girls and enjoy, D. Thanks, bro. No way in hell would I continue one more day with someone like that. That was my favorite line. Easiest way to show her and everyone that you have self-respect and will not tolerate disloyalty and disrespect. I dumped her on the spot. I kicked her out. Now, 6 weeks later, I have my life back. Good man. I also dumped my ex on the spot, kicked him out, spoke to him only about logistics of separating from D-Day forward. Absolute best possible thing I could have done. I love my new life. Congrats, op, heart. I dumped her on the spot. Congratulations on getting your life back, pal. Godspeed. Good for you, pal. Reclaim your life. I hated her at first and I told her many times it's the last time I'm ever talking to her. But it took more energy out of me than just accepting the end of this relationship and the betrayal. Introspecting about signs and mistakes, and moving on. Someone needs to make a drink called I dumped her on the spot. Ha ha. 3 años llorando en el sofá. Eso solo era motivo de ruptura. Amen. Awesome to hear you're making it through. Keep it up and thanks for inspiring others to move forward and find their happiness. Thanks. After reading so many weak of character without self-love, finally someone with dignity. Thank you. That's harsh. Someone who struggles to leave does not have weak character. Have some empathy for people who were traumatized by people they deeply love and are struggling to let go. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.